file. Seems to work for all the editing. 1, 2, 3. Hey, what is going on, Aces Axis fans? Tonight we are hanging out at Bucket of Buds, the new sponsorship for this awesome program we have going on. And we're calling it the highway to the Tone Zone because we're not at Funk N Waffles, our normal spot where we were doing the Tone Zone interviews. We're getting to know the guys behind the scenes and when they started to learn guitar and their love of guitar and how it got them to the Tone Zone. So we've got Mr. John Fedison over here and Mr. Michael Wolf of the amazing local band Pop Culture. Guys, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
They have an album that came out earlier this year called Moments of Totality. They have been on the couch at Funk N Waffles once with us, but I got to know them a little bit there. Wanted to sit down and know more about them, so here we are. So if you guys are out there ready to hang, grab a favorite bowl, grab a drink, and we're going to learn all about some guitars with these awesome gentlemen. So, first off, is guitar your first instrument, John?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Well, I played in band and I hated it. I played baritone.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that counts.
No, I would say that counts totally. So did you not like it because of the instrument or just the band setting didn't work for you?
I guess all of it. Like, reading music just didn't work for me. I hated it.
Understandable. Yeah, I've never learned to read music myself. So what about you, Mike?
I was a percussionist in the same band for, I don't know, like 9 years probably.
So you did like it then?
I did, yeah. You don't have to read much sheet music when you're hitting skins. So.
That's true. And looking at the sheet music, it's just a bunch of X's and O's. When I've looked at it, I'm like, that is very odd.
So they try you out in like 4th grade to see what instrument you like.
Okay.
And I wanted to play clarinet. I was like, Squidward plays a clarinet. I'm gonna
Awesome.
play clarinet.
That's great.
So I sat down with the clarinet. I couldn't make a sound out of it. The band teacher was like, maybe you should try percussion. So and then I liked it. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah.
Do you still mess with percussion at all, or?
Every now and then I'll sit behind the kit, and that's just for fun, but not often. No.
Cool. So John, why did you decide to pick up guitar then?
So I was hanging out with my loser buddy Foster.
Yes.
And we I showed him a guitar I had in my closet since I was a little kid, and I was like, yeah, someday I think I want to learn how to play this. And Foster's like, well, I know how to play. You want me to teach you?
Right, because I noticed obviously he knew more than just bass and everything like that when we were talking about the Kaler on your SG. So I was like, oh, he's a learned man, not just a normal bass player.
Yeah.
Sorry, bass players.
So he taught me the basics, and then I passed him.
That's awesome. What about you, Mike? How did you end up going from wanting clarinet to then percussion to landing on 6 strings?
Yeah, so it was like 10th grade. I started hanging out with my loser friends, John and Foster, and I noticed these guys are always sitting down with guitars and playing stuff.
Right.
And we had a garage band type thing.
Hell yeah.
And they were like, "You're a percussionist. You can play our drum kit."
Right.
It's not the same thing at all. I'm using my whole body to keep time. I can't do that. And the first song they had me learn was Tom Sawyer by Rob.
Yeah, right.
It was so unfair.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna work for anybody.
But so I'm sitting there like trying to keep track of the changing kick drum pattern every measure.
Right.
And John's over there going do 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 do. I'm like I want to do that. Like, he's just moving his hands. I'm using my full body.
Right.
So then I picked up guitar, and John and Foster taught me. Come a long way from Horse with No Name, the first song I learned.
Oh, a little America reference.
Yeah.
Actually, fun thing about America is none of them are from America. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah, they're 3 dudes from England, I want to say, and they're something to do with war. Their dads came over here or something like that, but they're actually not from America. And I was like, awesome, like why, but what can you do? What was your first guitar? You were saying it was hanging out in your closet. Do you remember what it is, what brand?
I think it was a Washburn.
Oh,
acoustic.
Washburn, nice. It's better than, mine was a Carrera, which I had never heard of never heard of before. Yeah, so it was one of those things. Syracuse Hotel used to have like guitar conventions and everything like that, and that's where I got it. I got it as like one of those like strap packs back in the day and everything like that. So, and your first guitar?
Was an Epiphone Les Paul, and it was like
not bad.
I don't know what like run or model it was, but it was one of the bare bones ones.
So not like the full bodied one, but more like the slat, like flat, like.
Pretty much, yeah.
Didn't have a arch top.
Oh
No, I don't think it did.
I don't know.
Like maybe I'm not remembering. It was
Right,
been a long
right.
Time, but
classic Les Paul shape and everything.
yeah, that worked for me, and I learned essentially on that instead of learning on acoustic, so it was a lot easier on the finger calluses.
Yeah, totally. So John, what was the first riff and the first full song that you learned to play?
I guess the first riff was what was it? It's the same one everyone learned. Smoke on the
Did you learn Smoke on? That was not mine, but that is definitely one of the classic ones. Blink 182. What's My Age Again? Or no, What's My Age Again? It was Damn It by Blink 182.
It's a classic. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to cut
And
you
the
off.
first full song.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't remember? Oh.
No, back in those days, I was huge into like Led Zeppelin and Van Halen and AC/DC, so it was probably one of those.
Yeah, AC/DC. I mean, it's great though for learning because I mean that rhythm is essential to learning everything. So, what about you?
I think the first riff I learned, I think, was Three Doors Down, Superman or Kryptonite. I'm sorry, Kryptonite.
Yes.
That was
Modern rock, K-rock.
Yeah, that
Right
was
there,
the first riff and I think full song that I learned.
Fantastic. And then I'd learned some Deftones after that, which was nice because I mean, drop D. Once you learn drop D as a kid, it's like, oh, there's no going back from
Did you ever learn how to play Around the Fur?
Yes. That album was the album that my whole band was like addicted to, and I got to see them Lost Horizon on that album, which was like 800 people, way more people than there should have been. Chino was crowd surfing. It was one of the cool. Everybody that's my age that was there is like, oh, if we could have that show on film. But back then it was way before cell phones. There was no, if someone had a big VHS thing, that would have been the only thing. So
that band stuck with me because as I was starting to play guitar, I still was really impressed by kind of like metal drummers, like a lot of the kick patterns that they were doing.
Abe is awesome.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So Around the Fur caught my attention.
The snare in that, I love the snare on that album and that kick pattern in the very beginning. Yeah, exactly. As soon as that comes on, like seeing it live, you're like, oh, shit's about to get fucked up. Yeah. Local guitar store growing up. So you guys are a little younger. So back in the day, we used to have independent guitar stores, and they would be in villages and towns and everything like that. Local guitar store for you guys, was it something like Guitar Center or Gorham Brothers, or was it something small?
So we were from Rondequoit, New York.
Okay.
In Rochester.
Oh, okay. Lots of guitars.
Yeah.
Guitars.
Yeah, so
almost every day after school.
I mean, technically, it is an independent store, just one of the biggest ones ever.
Yeah.
So you guys got the best of both worlds.
We were lucky. We were regulars there. We were probably 2-3 times a week we were in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, very often.
So all the guys knew us and they'd let us play the expensive thing.
Yeah.
Have you guys have you gotten to play their stage yet?
We played their outdoor stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's what I was wondering. Very cool.
It's a lot of fun.
That's fantastic. Yeah, actually, the first time I went there, I didn't even know they had amps because, like, I didn't know you could go down the hallway and everything like that. And then I was like, oh, there's a whole nother section of this. So
Foster, back in the day, had this idea of cutting a tie. Well, he didn't. It's not his idea. I think he got it from Grateful Dead. But cutting a tie-dye T-shirt, putting it on the grill cloth of an amp, and popping it in.
Yep.
So then I stole that idea and I put it on a red knob Princeton chorus that I had. Mm-hmm. And I'm going off to college and I sold that amp to the House of Guitars. And they were like, no way, we love this idea. And it was right front and center when you'd walk in and on their
that's fantastic. An homage to you.
Display, yeah.
And you're like, all I got to check was out of this. You should do some royalty fees or something.
So I was teased Foster about that. Like, I stole your idea.
Yeah.
Every time I go there, it's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there. I think it was on sale last time, but it was like $250. I was like, I should buy it.
You should
It was a
rebuy.
good
You should
amp.
totally
I like
rebuy.
that
Yeah,
amp.
those red knob amps are cool. Was there a guitar that seemed unobtainable when you first started playing? You were like, oh my god, like if you guys saw Wayne's World where Wayne would grab the, see the white Strat and just think of Jimi Hendrix. You were just talking, you got a new Les Paul, you have an SG. One of those, when you were a kid, you were just like, wow, to have one of those.
It was the Les Paul.
Yeah. So your dreams are coming true before our eyes. This is awesome.
Yep. I was always obsessed with Les Pauls. I did a school presentation on Les Pauls.
That's fantastic. About the guitars or the man himself?
Kind of both, like the history of.
Dude, watching him play guitar and everything like that, he like the first shredder and everything like that. It was absolutely insane. That's great. What about you?
For me, it was a Strat, but it was this relic Strat that I had seen on Instagram. There was, I forget his name, it was like Dale or something. He would relic these guitars, and it was, I believe it was painted green over a sunburst, and it was
I
like,
love those.
yeah, and it was like worn away, so sometimes the sunburst would come through and the green would kind of sparkle through too, and then it was, some areas it was just like a natural finish. I was like, that's badass. I want that guitar.
It was one of those things where it's like you read it and you're like, that's gonna look horrible, and you see it and you're like, oh no, that's the most beautiful thing in the world. And then you get a little bare wood showing too, and you're just like, oh. I absolutely love Rory Gallagher, and I love the fact that Ireland still treats his guitar like it's like a prized possession and everything like that. Like how much sweat ate through it and everything. Oh, one of my favorite. I have tons of Fender books and just guitar books, and like it's just like one of those things you're like, man, I'm not acidic whatsoever, so I don't have to deal with that. And I'm just like, it's amazing to see just the human body, how different we all are and everything.
Yeah, some people wear their finish down.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like, that doesn't happen with my guitars either, but I mean, we have plenty of scuffs and cracked finishes on my guitars, and you know, some people will be upset by them, like whatever.
War
It's
wounds.
just,
War wounds.
It just it happens.
Do you have a guitar shape that you hated? I talked with PJ and he was saying he hated the Vox, like the teardrop shape. It almost looks like a toilet bowl. The guys in Rolling Stones played and everything. Their shape that you were, or you know, some people don't like Tellys. People hate Flying V's because they're like, I can't play it sitting down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I gotta think about that.
Nice.
I think I have an answer.
Awesome.
I'm not a fan of reverse flying V's.
Yeah, one of the ugliest things known to man, for sure.
They're awkward, but some of the Dan Electro guitars also I dislike.
Yeah.
They were always in the house guitars. They were in this case that was like, if you're looking at the stage, like bottom right to the stage, and I'd always just like walk past it. Like, I wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah, I like the satin colors of them, but with the lipstick pickups and everything, they just look so 50s to me. It just looks like, I don't know. It just didn't look cool to me, you know. But
yeah, and I get some people like it. That's fine. I think they probably have better taste than I do. But for me, I like something a little more low key, I think.
Yeah, it's even weird when you see Jimmy Page playing them and everything like that. I'm not a huge Led Zeppelin fan, but it just looks out of place and everything like that to me. So awesome. Who became the guitar players that shaped where you guys are at today?
I guess in recent history, when I started getting decent at soloing, it was always Jerry Garcia and the Allman Brothers, Diggy Betts and Dwayne Allman.
Yeah.
And David Gilmour, Pink Floyd.
The classics,
Yeah. And then past that, I've kind of gotten more into Derek Trucks, Jimmy Herring, and like John McLaughlin, guys like that.
So guys that know tone, basically. Yeah, big guys that know tone and really have signature sounds almost and everything like that. Like no one sounds like Derek Trucks. Like even though he's playing other people's music and Allman Brothers, it's like he starts soloing and you're just like, oh, it's him and everything like that.
It's his song now.
Exactly. It's almost like how, you know, Dio took over Black Sabbath and it was just like, oh, you know, some people are just like, oh, I don't even care about the Ozzy era because it became a new band with him and everything like that. So, what about you?
Oh, for me, it was early on. It was Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead because after my fallout with drums, we had a lead guitar player and a bass player. I was like, okay, I can do rhythm guitar. I'm not a flashy player, but Bobby, the way he would comp chords was really interesting, and his playing style introduced me to chord inversions.
Okay.
And that is echoed a lot in how I play now. Also, his tone was, especially in 76 through 78 was really classy. Like,
Is that like the Europe? I'm trying to
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yes,
Europe 70. Well, Europe 72.
Okay.
But Cornell 77, amazing tone, and he was playing his Cowboy Fancy guitar, which was an Ibanez, which is why I own an Ibanez now.
Nice.
But really killer tone out of that, which in recent years I haven't been a huge fan of his tone because it's been like ear grating, like it's so bright.
Right.
So now I try to walk the line of like a bright tone and a glassy tone.
And that might be with him just getting older. He's lost the frequencies,
Yeah,
and he's hearing it the same, and everybody else is just like, "Oh, good lord!"
But more recently, we went to see Derek Trucks over the summer, and his playing had a huge impact on me. And then I've been listening to a lot of Cassiopeia, I think is how most people pronounce that.
I can't say I'm familiar.
They're a Japanese fusion, like funk fusion band from the 80s.
Very cool.
And their playing is so tight, and the lead guitarist, I don't know his name. If I knew, I probably couldn't pronounce it. His playing is so fantastic, and his phrasing is like it's like he knows exactly what to say on guitar. He really shapes the song with how he's playing, and does a really great job of kind of alluding to what's coming next.
Nice.
And in my lead playing, I've been trying to mimic that to no avail.
I've been really into Tommy Emmanuel lately. I don't know if you guys have an Australian acoustic guitar player. Dude I'll show you guys some stuff. He is absolutely awesome. And then one of the bands I had the pleasure of interviewing is Apollo Sons, instrumental Canadian band. Dude plays an SG through a boogie, and they have four-piece horn section with him, keyboard, bass. So like he's playing against all this stuff, the only guitar player, and like he still shines through and everything. Yeah. Very Santana-like tone and everything like that, but absolutely killer band. So there's so much fun music out there. So I love hearing about all these guys that I don't know about. So learning to play. Obviously you were saying Foster and everything like that. Were you guys more learning to play together with other people, or would you sit at home for hours jamming along with a record, or had a chord chart in front of you and just trying to memorize chords and scales? How did you go about learning?
I guess it was a little bit of both. It was mostly I had a guitar hanger right next to my bed.
Yep. That's so much of it for people out there, is having a guitar somewhat accessible. If it's just sitting there on stand, even if it's not your favorite guitar or the most expensive one, just having something to reach out and grab when it's 5 minutes, I think is key for anybody trying to learn.
Yeah, so in high school I spent a lot of time, if I was just sitting in bed doing nothing, it'd be right there and I'd have to play it.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time definitely listening to records, and that's how I learned how to solo.
Nice.
Just listening to, what I liked to listen to a lot of the time was like Bob Marley and Guns N' Roses.
Awesome. Hey.
Pretty opposite, but I just listened to them and play whatever I could over it,
right,
solo, and that kind of taught me some of the patterns and some of the...
And reggae music is not easy to play over. A lot of people are like, oh, it's super simple until you try to, and you're like, wait, everything's kind of backwards and nothing really makes sense, so that's great.
Yeah,
Dove right in.
I kind of grew up on Bob Marley, so
yeah.
There's stuff songs that I heard a million times. I know what changes is coming next.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for me to figure out how to solo over the changes.
And it's better than learning like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something, where like you go to a sometimes guitar instructor and they're like, learn Happy Birthday, and it's like, oh, I don't want to learn. Exactly. So learning more rhythm, were you the same way? Were chord book and?
It was a little bit of everything you mentioned.
Because you already had kind of learned drums and everything, so you were used to going through the process of learning stuff.
Yeah, and I to learn chords, I'd look at a lot of chord charts, and listening to songs that would kind of resonate with me and kind of sit in my subconscious, so I could kind of let that make its imprint on me. And then, very early on, I learned a couple of like major 7 chords, and I stopped there and I said, okay, I have these 4 or 5 chords, now I'm going to try to write my own song with it.
Awesome.
And so I have like voice memos from back from probably like 16 of me like just trying to piece some old chords together and make some stuff sound good.
Having a tape recorder, that was like, I know Dimebag Darrell was famous for always having a tape recorder with them. Tom Morello, I believe, always just had a simple one because he's like, riffs come out of nowhere if you have a recorder. At least we got cell phones in this.
Yeah, I know. So that helped, and I figured like if it was good enough and I liked how it sounded, it would stick with me. And I think there's only one that stuck with me back from all the way back then. Simple like C to like G or F progression. Yeah, chord charts and just trial and error.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a tuner was for like the first 4 months of playing. I was just, I came from non-musical family, so it's like, I think that's why I got into thrash metal, because all I could do was just worry about picking, so I was just worrying about that. So now that part just comes with ease, and trying to play chords is like, I'll play death metal. Your current amps, you guys are both playing Fenders currently, Fender DeVille and a Fender Super Reverb.
That's right.
Are they your holy grail? You're happy with that, or is there like well, if I could get this, maybe I would try that?
Well, that Super Reverb was my holy grail.
The dope story. If you guys haven't watched our Tone Zone with that, you can watch that. But it's a dope story how you obtained it.
Yeah, and it really is versatile. My qualm with it is that it sounds like most amps. It sounds great when it's loud.
Right.
I live in an apartment. I don't want to make my neighbors hate me.
Yeah. So being 410s, it's not like you can like cut it in half, or it's not like it's a single 12 or something like that. It's just
right. So it kind of loses its magic a little bit at lower volumes, but it's still like there's so much headroom. It's very clear tone, and running pedals into it is great because I'm already working with such a clean foundation.
Yep.
And then I do have the Blues Junior off to the side, which I've had for many years, and that's like my second best. Like I'm very happy with my amp selection.
Awesome. What about you?
I'm pretty jealous of Mike. He's got some good ones.
Yeah.
I pretty much got the same problem with my DeVille. It's just
They're loud.
they're so freaking loud.
Yeah.
And like I love the hot rod circuit. It's the way it distorts is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But with the DeVille, you just can't do it at a low volume.
Right.
And it's amazing. Like the last show we played was outside, and we did the sound, so we did not mic up the amp, and I was able to turn the thing
Actually
up.
enjoy it. Yeah.
It sounded great, but everywhere we go, they want to mic it up.
Right.
It's too small of a room to play loud. So
should try something. Have you ever got to play like a Fender Champ 5, like any of the 5-watt Fender amps?
I haven't.
No, because they're 5 so like that's something that you'd probably be able to crank in most things. They're only a single 12 though, so I don't know if you'd get the bass response out of it, but something like that might work for you.
I just remembered I have another Holy Grail amp.
Oh, sweet.
A Fender Dual Showman. They are massive. Like, so the Dual Showman's the head.
Okay.
And then it would come with these massive cabs, probably like 5-foot cabs.
Sweet.
And the low end particular is what caught my attention because it's a super tight low end. And after I learned what they were, I knew of their existence. I walked into the House of Guitars and I was going down the aisle to the back room. And I looked to my right and there's 2 Dual Showmans right next to each other.
Nice.
No way. I'll never be able to afford it. It's
Right.
cool to just like reach out and touch it.
Yeah. I love boogie amps, and boogie amps are known for being bassy and everything, and that's just the tone that I enjoy and everything like that. But they're also very temperamental because a lot of boogie amps, when you go from left to right, the amp parameters change the more the left one is turned and everything. So a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm gonna set it like a normal amp, and they don't work that way. So it's, especially with the 5-band EQs and everything like that, it's like you get in 5-band EQs and you don't know what you're doing. You're like, oh, this amp sucks, and it's like, you just don't know how to use it.
Exactly.
Us guitar players, an EQ3 is usually enough. Have you guys ever tried the digital route? You guys are younger. There's digital modelers everywhere and everything like that. Obviously, I know currently you're not. Have you ever gone that route and went backwards, or ever thought about it?
Well, my first amp when I was playing like a first act Strat. I had a Fender Mustang model.
Yes, yep.
It was just, it sucked.
Right, right.
It was a beginner amp. It served its purpose,
But for like pedals or anything like that, would you ever consider trying like a Helix or a Kemper or anything like that, or not really? You're happy with the analog route?
yeah, I've had people try and convince me. I'm pretty happy with analog.
Yeah, so am I personally.
I respect the digital. I think I'm not smart enough to to figure it all out.
Right.
Like you have so many options and like 6 buttons on this like plastic square. Like how do you do that?
Understandable, and that's why I like to ask, because some people are just like, I don't want to sit down at a computer and learn stuff. I just want to play guitar.
Yeah.
So it's nice to talk to people from different generations, because I know you guys grew up with computers more, so I didn't know if it was just more comfortable that way. But
Yeah.
I like turning knobs.
Yeah, I mean,
physical
like the tactile,
knobs.
yeah.
Exactly, and like things just look cooler in person
Yeah.
and everything. So.
And if you spill a beer on a Helix, it's done.
yeah,
I spent,
$1,700 down the
I
drain.
spent like 3 or 4 beers on my pedal board and it's fine.
That's great. That's great. We do not recommend spilling beer, but it's a nice thing to know. So, do you guys play acoustic or classical?
I have 2 acoustics, 6-string and 12-string, and then a classical.
Nice, nice.
I don't play it like the classical style.
Right.
I love
Play with a
Nelson.
pick and.
Well, I don't play with a pick.
Oh, okay. Well, I do. So, actually,
I
yeah.
guess I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I thought you weren't supposed to for the longest time because,
Right.
because our bass player Foster was he borrowed. I also have a classical.
Nice.
He borrowed it and broke like the D string on it with a pick. I was
Right.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
they
how
make
do you do that?
felt picks that you can use, like ukulele picks. You could use something like that also. But I like the percussiveness of classical and everything like that. And working at a guitar store selling guitars for 12 years like I did, it's like you have to sell to church people, to rock people, so it's like I kind of learned everything enough to be able to learn them. And classical was nice because I kind of learned a couple chords, but like I got bigger hands, so I always loved the thicker,
Yes.
the wider fretboard and everything. I played Music Mans for a while, and I just couldn't do it because they're so skinny. Like a Rickenbacker or anything like that, it just does. You've played a Rickenbacker
One of
before?
my biggest heartbreaks. I not that I could afford it anyways, but a 12-string Rickenbacker was like one of my favorite sounds.
Yep.
And I tried to play one. I'm like, how the hell
Yep.
does anyone do this?
So I got the opportunity. I worked in the Virginia Beach Guitar Center for 2 years. So a little bit bigger city than we are here now. And obviously with the Navy and everything like that, there was a lot of money being moved around with guitars down there. This guy had brought in, huge Tom Petty fan. They had made limited edition 25 or 50 Tom Petty 12-string, like exactly like his, the fire glow and everything. And he had paid, I don't even, this would have been in 2006, and it was like $4 or $5 grand back then, so who knows how much it's worth now. And he was like, I love the guitar, but I physically can't play it. And I remember trying to play, and I was like, I don't know what you can do with this thing, because I mean the neck wasn't much bigger than a normal 6-string Rick, and with the 12 strings I was like, yeah, even if it sounds great, you can't play. So what kind of a 12-string acoustic do you have?
Oh, it's an Epiphone.
Awesome.
DR212.
Nice. I love the sound of 12-string acoustics.
Tell them about your other 12-string, bro.
Oh, I have an Ibanez hollow body electric 12-string.
Oh, very cool. That's a cool tone, especially for doing recording and everything like that. Like that'd be something cool to use for a track.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't sound very good. It's easy to play. It's easy to play.
Right. That's awesome. And classical, the only thing I do say, I hate changing the strings on them. And those are one thing where if you do not wipe down the strings when you're done playing, they get corroded so easily.
Yeah.
And so I'm really bad about that. And because I don't do the ball end ones, because I look at it and I'm like, no, I'll sit there and I'll tie the little strings and everything, and then they fall apart and I look stupid.
I think I've changed strings on my classical like once or twice, and I was like, okay, cool, let's never do this again.
Yeah, working at Guitar Center, it was like if someone had like a bad, they were a bad employee, we were like, okay, it's time to change the classical strings today, and they were just like, all right, I'm not going to do that again, kind of thing. So do you play any other instruments currently? Keys? Have you picked up bass at all, or since doing guitar, have you stuck with that?
Oh, I have a couple basses.
Nice.
I like playing them.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
Right.
But it's fun. It's fun.
It's cool to warm up and everything on bass too, and then you go to guitar and you're like, oh wow, this is kind of really easy and everything like that. So, you were saying you don't really play percussion anymore.
Yeah, but when we're like burnt out from practice and we're all like just messing around, I'll sit behind the kit.
Right.
butcher a couple songs.
If there was an instrument you wish you could play, like if is the clarinet, do you still wish in the back of your mind you're like, I want that Squidward moment?
No, Kenny G's got me beat. So.
You got nice hair though. You just got to
grow it out.
Yeah.
But no, if anything, I'd probably. I don't know. It's between drums and keys. Like I'm always really impressed with keys players.
Yeah.
Because with guitar, like I don't know music theory.
Right.
So it's all like shapes and positioning to me.
Yeah.
With keys, it's all like the same.
Yeah, it's like memory. They get to just memorize that and just do it there.
Yeah, it doesn't get bigger or smaller, and it's just white key, black key.
That's why I love listening to Paul Gilbert, because he obviously started as a shredder, and then through going to music school after that, he was like, the keyboard players are where it's at, because he's like, I want to play those 60s pop songs, and I can't play them unless I learn those keyboard songs, riffs on guitar and everything. So I was like, I'll go that route. I'll learn those chords and keep the keyboard for. And like I don't like playing guitar sitting still. I couldn't imagine playing keyboards like being confined to sitting down and everything. It's not for me.
I do like with keys though, you can. Like our keyboard player, he'll write a song, but he'll write it like almost like all the parts at the same time.
Talented
between
dude.
both hands, and I'm like, I wish I could do it.
Yeah. Or you could do the whole Doors thing where it's like, oh, we don't need a bass player tonight. They can just play the bass part on the low end and everything like that. So Foster can have a night off.
That's why he has a 5-string bass.
Right. Yep. Well, I know a lot of session bass players, they say at this point they pretty much have to learn to play like the little 37 key sub bass, because for some songs it's just like demanded that they have that sub octave that they can't get on bass and everything like that. So, any instruments you wish you could play if you were, what is it?
Pedal steel.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Obsessed with pedal steel.
And I don't know if there's an easy way to learn besides buying one. And I mean, that's not a small contrast. Like, I don't think they make like a lap steel, you know what I'm saying? Like, because without the pedals and everything like that. So, have you ever sat down on one and tried to learn?
I don't think so.
No.
They're so expensive and they're so hard to find.
Yeah.
But if I could, it'd be there.
We had a sitar one time come through Guitar Center. Came with a DVD and like to how to restring it. That was 2 hours long. There was like, because you've got the strings on top and then all the strings on the bottom that just resonate, and everybody was just like, that's not happening. Like, none of us are trying this, and it looked really cool, but it was just like, I couldn't even understand the instrument, because once you get to the stuff resonating that you can't touch, I'm like, nope, I'm good. I am good. Just a couple more questions, guys. Sure. Guitar tone that you guys saw live. I know we were talking about Derek Trucks and everything. Is there like that you saw that you weren't expecting and you were just like, whew, that one stands out in your mind, or is Derek Trucks for both of you guys?
No,
Oh, sweet.
This was probably like 3 years ago. We went to see. John wasn't there. Me, my girlfriend, and a couple of our other friends went to go see Krugbin and Men I Trust at the Buffalo Art Park, and that was a fantastic show. Men I Trust is kind of like a indie pop, psychedelic bedroom pop type of sound.
Very cool.
Krugbin's they call it Texas surf.
Okay. That's a cool description. I will definitely have to check them out then.
So Krugbin, they have this, it's like three people. Yeah. They have such a huge sound, and the sheer amount of reverb on, I don't know his name, but on the guitar player's guitar, it just creates this entire atmosphere.
That's awesome.
And I was standing there watching, and there was actually so much reverb, and maybe I was dehydrated or something, but I ended up losing my vision.
Oh wow!
I was watching them, and then the TV static started like happening, and I was like, oh, I can't see anything anymore.
I'm sure it was a reverb.
Yeah, it must have been the reverb.
Blinded by reverb as opposed to science. Look at that.
But out of it, I ended up getting to talk to the vocalist from Men I Trust, which was really cool.
That's great.
She was super nice to talk to. So yeah, worth losing my vision.
Yeah. What about you, bro? Is there a show where you were just like, that is a tone right there?
I don't get to see a lot of live music.
Oh, okay.
So it's really just Derek Trucks that I've seen in person.
Nice. Mine was, I don't know if you guys are a fan of the goth rock band called Typo Negative.
I haven't heard of
Typo Negative, and it's cool. Their lead singer was his name was Peter Steele. He was like 6'8", huge baritone baritone voice. So obviously, I was like, oh, totally. I used to be like a New York City garbage man, so like huge dude would play a stand-up bass with a strap. So like that kind of size, like would play hold a wine bottle while still playing bass, like just huge dude. But they had like a full organ on stage. When I saw them live, all they had on stage were like those 55-gallon drum, like that homeless people keep warm with. But all they were coming out was green smoke. So all you could see was green smoke the whole night. And their guitar player is just because he does so much on bass, it allows the guitar tone to just be as thick as possible, and it was just like unbelievable. But Typo Negative is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, they're like 7-8 minute. It's kind of like if Black Sabbath met the Beatles.
I was just gonna say Black Sabbath has had some longer songs.
Yes.
On Paranoid, I think we were listening to it one time, and we're like, is this still Black Sabbath?
Yeah,
this is nice.
Yeah. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is my favorite Black Sabbath album, and I want to say 3 of the songs are maybe over 7 minutes or so. So yeah, no, Sabbath had some proggy elements and everything to it that I don't think everyone. No worries whatsoever. If there was a guitar player, and I'm gonna go / bass player that you could jam with, living, deceased, anything like that, is there somebody you were like, that would be somebody to jam? And I put bass player in because maybe you'd rather have somebody to, sit in the pocket while you just jammed out with them.
I would say what comes to mind immediately is Marcus King. Marcus King Band. The way, like, he follows a blues format, but I feel like the way he pieces stuff together, it's greater than, the product is greater than the sum of the parts.
Awesome.
It's very well.
I'll have to check. I've
very well written.
Don't know.
And he's a fantastic lead player and singer too.
Okay, cool.
So I'd like to go lick for lick with that guy.
That's awesome. What about you, John?
Say Mike.
I love that. I put bass player because I was like, somebody's gonna say Foster, and
no one wants to play with the bass player.
Oh man! So 2 more questions, and we're gonna get you guys. We're gonna actually. I asked them to bring their gear, so they're gonna do a song playthrough for us, which should be super cool. But 2 more questions. You guys are super cool for doing this. Thank you guys so much. If you could make a signature guitar, because who doesn't want a signature guitar? What would it be? Doesn't have to be a particular brand, or if you were like, no, a particular brand, but certain color, something that you were like, oh, if I could put that pickup or that bridge on a Les Paul, do you guys have a dream that is in your mind?
All right, so I get a double neck. 12
Nice.
12 string on top, 6 string on the bottom. Lawler Imperial on the 6 string, and some Rickenbacker toaster pickups on the 12 strings.
Dude, my man just nailed it right here. The double. Have you actually got to play a double neck or anything like that?
I think I played one of the SG ones back at House of Guitars. Years ago.
That's a great call, and a roadie to go along with it, so you don't have to change those strings. Because changing 18 strings with that, because you'd have to change both of them. I mean, when you're doing one, so. I got to see Cheap Trick live once, and he brought out the 5-neck thing and everything, and you're just like, oh my god, it's so cool. That's a great call. I like that answer. That is a good one. How about you, bro?
I've been pondering. I don't think mine's gonna be as cool, but I used to own a Jazzmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And
the elusive one that you had sold.
And it haunts me. So I think I would build a Jazzmaster replica with the rhythm circuit in it, because Fender keeps taking out the rhythm circuits and I don't know why. Rhythm circuit, and
because it has the roller knobs and everything.
Yeah, and I love that.
The roller knobs look so cool.
Yeah. And functionally it was fantastic. And then I would get some vintage soap bar Jazzmaster pickups.
Yeah, like the cream color or something. Yeah. What color would the guitar be?
It's a good question. Probably, I like the Sunburst. That's whenever I think about the one I sold, it was Sunburst.
Yeah, with the cream pickups, like, it just looks so nice. What about you? Because would it be red to match the SG that you already have?
probably like natural.
Yeah.
They make some BC Rich double necks.
You got a good point. I want to change my answer to natural. I like. There's a pine jazz masters that they made for a little while, and I always thought those were awesome.
Yeah, I have a Jason Becker, and those are just all natural and everything like that, and that's Swamp Ash, and I love the look of Swamp Ash and everything. So yes. So last but not least, why guitar still? You've played for how long at this point?
Eighth grade.
So your life, pretty much. Like I mean, you're adult. That's way before being adult, but from teen to adult life, I've played for over 25 years. So why guitar still? Because there's probably a lot of things that you did in 8th grade that you have gone by the wayside, But guitar obviously isn't, because you said I'll sit down and talk guitar with this random guy here for an hour. So you must love the instrument. Why still?
I guess it's just been fun. It's just it's an easy instrument,
Right.
and like the ease has made me be able to let me be able to get out some of the ideas I've had in my head. It's a nice way to unwind, if you're stressed out, or it's a nice way to get together with your friends and create something high energy and creative. It's just it's my creative outlet, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
For me, it was. Well, I've been playing, I think, 8 years.
Awesome.
My math is right. I think I'd be better by now. But it was
Sound fantastic to me, my friend.
Thank you. Once these guys taught me how to hold the instrument and make sounds out of it, once I kind of made it my own, it became like a source of positivity, like improving my mental health. Usually I'd be stressed with school, and I'd go home and I'd just throw some chords together and be like, hey, that's a beautiful little song that I made that made me so happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I stuck with it, because sometimes motivation comes and goes and inspiration comes and goes. So some days I'm not feeling it, but other days I'll just look at the guitar and I'm like, I know what I want to play.
Right.
It comes out so easily.
Guitar is just so cool. I've said it before. I wish I understood anything in life like I understand. I'm not the best guitar player in the world, but just like the physical, I don't know what it is. It's just like I've touched. I mean, I worked at Guitar Center for 12 years. So as a sales guy, 5 years as an ops manager. So I was shipping and receiving guitars and everything like that. So it's like I physically have touched thousands and thousands of guitars, and it's like I still new ones. It's still every time you touch one, you're just like, it's something new and exciting and everything. It really does, and they're all so unique and just like, especially acoustics. Like I love, we'd get in Martin D28s all the time, and like things like that. I miss so much about working at a guitar store, because like you'd be like, wow, this is like was a tree. It's cut down, and now somebody took all of their time and everything to make a beautiful instrument out of it, and now we get to produce beautiful music for the world to hopefully enjoy. So the energy about it, I wanted to add, like you said, you pick up a guitar and it kind of influences you. And every single guitar I've owned, and every guitar he's owned and that I've had at my disposal, I pick it up and a new idea comes to my head. And it wouldn't have come to me if it was on the other guitar. And it doesn't matter if it's 25.5-inch scale length versus scale length or what it is, but it's just like, I don't know what it is, and it's so hard to describe to non-guitar players. Like I don't know if a clarinet player picks up different clarinets and they're just like, oh, that one, I don't know if it's just because they're shaped differently, and we're such visual human beings and everything like that, but looks, I don't know.
Let us, all you
awesome.
clarinet players out there, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. But so if you guys haven't checked out Pop Culture yet, go check out Pop Culture. They're an amazing local band out of Central New York area. They've been on my Spotify playlist since I started hanging out with these guys, and probably listen to it on a daily basis. In all honesty, I think Between the Trees is one of the coolest, most progressive, awesome songs that I've heard in a long time. That's why I called actually, I think I forgot to name this interview, but I was going to call it Between the Trees, because I thought it would be perfect, considering we're technically, literally, I didn't even plan this out, but we are between the trees. And with Bucket of Buds, it's a great tree to be, plant to be involved with. And go check out Pop Culture. And we're going to stop recording for a few minutes. and I'm gonna get these guys to do a song playthrough, so we're gonna get to see how talented these guys are. And guys, thank you so much for sitting down, shooting the shit with me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bucket of Buds, for giving us the space to do this awesome interview. This is a dream come true for a guitar player / journalist kind of guy trying to make a name for himself. So thank you guys for the ride, and let's keep it going. Peace out.